Hello there, it's Al here from Grumpy Grognard Gaming, and I'm here with Matt.
Hello.
Hello. I've already reviewed this once, and I ripped it to shreds. And then you watched it, and you went, "No, I don't like it either. It's crap." So I went, "All right, let's do another one. We'll re-record it. I'll
Yeah.
consider this a take two because I might have got a bit ranty anyway." So thanks
We'll
for
try and
tuning
rein
in.
that in somewhat.
We'll try a little bit. I might have got it all out of my system. Probably not.
So,
So yeah, I mean, we've both just watched episode 3 of Tithes, and obviously, we've also recorded a longer form, one of our CHEBS videos, podcast type thing that I need to get up, the thoughts towards episode 2. But broadly, when it comes to Tithes, episode 1, 2 Space Marines trying to get gene seed from fallen brothers. One of them has to sacrifice himself. Loads of cross-chapter banter, some good action with Necrons. A continuation from prior Nexus. Safe to say, we really liked episode 1.
might want to put a spoiler warning on this one.
We'll be discussing this in full, this entire episode. I spoil it to bits, so I'm not worried about spoilers. I'll put a spoiler warning in the description or something.
Very good.
Besides, I didn't say which ones sacrificed themselves. Episode 2, I think it was called Faith. I can't remember for sure. Go down to collect psychers before Tyranid Hive World gets there. That video's got an insane amount of views. My review of it.
Custodians.
Lots of people. One no longer Bustodies. We can't call them Bustodies. She has no bust. So Femstodies or Custodies, I think is all we can do.
She's
And she goes down there, basically puts the Space Marine captain down. I don't go into it loads, but she's there to tell him to basically pack up, get off fucking planet. We're going to blow it up to try and keep the Tyranids hungry. I'm just here for the psychers. If you want to see my full review on that, then check it out. It should be easy to find. It's the only Grumpy Grognard Gaming video with more than 10,000 views. But still quite a healthy ratio, I believe. Which brings us up to episode 3. Now, I watched the trailer for episode 3 last week because they previewed it, and I was just like...
You weren't impressed straight off, were you?
No, I wasn't. I was like, this looks slightly more girl boss-tastic to me, which is a trend that we've been noticing since they did the Knights animation, where the Knights lady... Night Pilot was the bestest ever, much better than the 2 stupid princes who both got killed immediately. Yep. And she ends up, spoiler, becoming matriarch of the entire Knight household after offing the old one.
Many spoilers in this.
Many spoilers. Spoiler-tastic. Which brings us to episode 3. So let's get stuck into it. As I say, we saw the trailer and I was like, yeah, this looks like more girl boss stuff. I was hoping to be completely proven wrong. And well, let's just see as we go. So we start off, there's a Valkyrie and a few cargo haulers making a drop, presumably to resupply the position below, and it all looked pretty cool, man. You've got the Valkyrie dropping down through the atmosphere, all burning and everything. Nice. I will say that again, direction wise and visuals wise, I thought this was fine.
Yeah,
I didn't quite get the really nice touches that I got out of the last episode, but there were some really cool bits in it, and I've tried to screenshot some of them to show off at its best.
To be fair, I thought it would have had a slightly better production quality given the amount of money they surely saved on the writing.
Well, you would think so, and the writing implements, because presumably this was written in crayon. But yeah, let's carry on. So we start off, and we've got this lady Cassikin, and she's complaining about, she's the sergeant of the squad, and she's complaining about basically being a delivery service for these bullets, this ammunition, which is kind of fair enough. I'm going to call her Vasquez because that's clearly who it's kind of portrayed upon. She's in charge. She's pretty damn unlikable, but without any kind of depth or anything like that. She's just complaining and being large and in charge. There's a bit of banter between her and the dudes, and she's like, second female, strength female, who we're going to call Feros. Is it Feros from Aliens with the glasses, the pilot?
Pharaoh.
Thank you. Pharaoh. We're going to call her Pharaoh because that's who this is like, ha, fuck you. Now, this is not the first time that fuck you or fucking hell or oh fuck is used in Warhammer 40,000 animation. It happens a few times in this one, and it also happened quite a lot in the Interrogator kind of cartoony TV series that they did.
Yeah.
Which had quite a good story, I thought.
That was
personally, this use of fuck takes me out of the moment, out of the universe.
Yeah,
I kind of wish that they came up with something different.
a bit more set and appropriate.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, Battlestar Galactica used frack. Obviously, frack is quite derivative of fuck. And
Yeah,
you and me swear like fucking sailors anyway. But this is 2024. You know, we're allowed to. This is meant to be a whole nother universe. Dan Abnett quite cleverly came up with Theth for the
that's good.
Tanith, which is a god of the forest or something on Tanith that they use. But it's a clever invective. When this just goes and falls back on fuck you or whatever, it just kind of feels like it's trying to be edgy for the sake of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's like, look, we're nearly 40,000 years in the future. Seriously? You couldn't have done any
Yeah,
better than that?
kind of. I mean, yeah, I kind of get that it's going for that sort of mature type thing, but I really do just wish they come up with a different invective. I like Emperor's Balls. Why don't we get Emperor's Balls? That's a good one.
Yeah, I mentioned that one earlier. That's quite a funny one.
By the Emperor's golden balls.
Yeah, that's a bit more of a, that's the kind of, don't want to say it around the commissar kind of thing.
Well, we'll get on to that. So yeah, I mean, we've got some, and this does look cool, and it makes me kind of think, oh, it'd be cool, kind of cool to play Imperial Aeronautica Imperialis.
Yeah.
Oh,
They binned it.
they binned it off. They got rid of it. So you can't. Oh, well, never mind. So carrying on, the next thing she does is talk down to and denigrate a commissar. So apparently that means nothing if you're a Cassican. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Aren't you supposed to be like a bit more respectful to him on the basis that he can just shoot your head off if he feels like it? I kind of thought commissar women to be a bit more of an authority. So yeah, she has to go, oh, this is my mission, not yours, blah 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 blah. All right, whatever lady in charge, cool.
But
Yeah,
that did come back to bite her later on, though, which I thought was quite funny.
It kind of does a bit later, kind of. And then there's some cool action. So yeah, the Thunderbolt fighters do their thing. And then we go down to Girl Boss number 2. Diverse girl boss, so therefore she has to be more in charge than normal girl boss. So this is the boss of the entire operation on the planet. And
Did we catch
she's
her
waiting.
rank? Is she a
She's
captain?
waiting for the ammunition. She doesn't get to do a lot. We can't say a lot about her. We don't get a personality or anything like that. She is just the commander of the ground forces, overall commander. So she's like, oh, the ammunition's coming. Cool, we've got a chance. Some fighter bombers show up. And what I said in my original review is, sadly, we don't get to see the pilots of the fighter bombers much. We don't get to hear them say anything or anything like that, which is a real shame because I don't know if you remember the graphic novel Death Squadron.
No, I never read it.
By Gordon Rennie. That was fantastic. I thoroughly recommend you seek out a copy, digital otherwise, and check it out. It's very funny. It's got a lot of character in it, and it's great. You get these fly boys. And did you play the computer game Death Squadron that came out recently?
Also, no.
It's a bit poop, but there's loads of character in it. So it's not a great game by any means. In fact, my copy on the Switch is actually broken. There's a glitch in the mission, means I can't get any further in the game, and I don't think they're going to fix it.
I did play Shooters, Guns and Teeth, which was great.
I remember that's a 2D one, isn't it? The 2D shooter. Yeah, that was a good laugh.
Fantastic.
This is good for like the character and the talking between the different characters and the in-universe, and the bombers look great and you can customize them and everything like that. It's just a shame that the game itself is not very good.
A bit pony.
Bit pony, yeah. So these guys turn up, and yeah, we don't get anything between York pilots, which is a bit of a shame because that would have been really cool. So the fighter bombers and the Thunderbolts are having a bit of a pop, and you've got this lad down on the ground, kind of scoping it all out, looking it out.
That's an orc, by the way.
Yes, yeah. An orc with a sniper scope.
I suspect he might be a flash git, or it might be a looter.
Yeah, I think it might be a looter. I don't think it was a flash git.
Because no, it wasn't quite flashy enough to be a flash git, I guess. Yeah. But like I was, it panned out from the crosshair, and it was an orc, and I was like, fuck the orcs make stuff with crosshairs in them, not like an old school fine black crosshair. I was like, fuck off, and I was like, oh wait a minute,
bother. They've nicked it.
No, it's a looter. It, blatantly looted it.
So they lose one of the haulers, and they get the rest down on they make the drop basically.
So they make the drop. Harvest lighters, aren't they?
Yes, and they're going to get attacked by the bombers. They're going to do a dive bomb attempt. And what's happened is the Thunderbolts have run out of ammo. So one of them does a kamikaze run and takes out the other two, the last two bombers with one kamikaze run, which was pretty damn cool.
Very cool.
He's like, I'm out of ammo, and he's like, we can't stop them, and he's like, yes, I can. Yeah.
One last thing to try.
Flash.
It's exactly that.
And you get this really cool shot here, and I did like this shot of the autopilot. She's like,
yeah,
I am totally boned. So they make the drop, and it's like, cool. So they get off, and there's only a few Kaskins, like 2 or 3 Kaskin there. The lieutenant comes up, and he's like, we've been expecting you. Now, audience, me and Matt know, but what do you think happens here? Does she snap a salute to her superior officer and say, yes, sir, we got here as fast as we could? Or does she bitch at him?
Well, she's Kazakin, but, just in case rank actually
She's a sergeant.
matters.
She's a sergeant. He's a lieutenant. So, does she snap the salute and act professionally? Or does she bitch at him?
Well, she's Kazakin, so I'm going to say that she clearly acts professionally.
Of course. Absolutely.
But then I've seen it, so I'm going to have to retract that.
She bitches at him. She bitches at him and says, why weren't your flat guns firing? It would have been easier. Which, considering what she's about to do, is absolutely stupid thing to say, but, whatever. So, she's unlikable bitch. She basically just says that. No salute, no superior officer or anything like that. She just basically has a go at him. And he says effectively, well, yeah, we ran those dries days ago. They have no ammo. All we have left is a few broken power packs, his words, and some small heavy arms fire, I think he says, which you can see here. He's basically got some heavy bolts. He says, we've basically got just enough, heavy small arms, yeah. We've got basically just enough to stop the orcs from dive bombing us and blowing us away. And that's it. So he's like, so thank the Emperor you're here. We can really use these bullets. And she's like, not what's going on. We're here to take all your ammo and take it somewhere else. Which, considering what they've expended getting down here, is pretty dumb.
Yep.
Pretty dumb. But yeah, anyway, that's what's going on. So, dun, dun, dun. That's not the case. They're leaving them there to die. And to be fair, she's not massively happy about it. He's less happy about it. So he's like, no, I'm not doing that. And the Commissar's like, this is the Emperor's will. So similar to what the Custodies did with the Space Marine, kind of like, this is what's going to happen.
She doesn't act like she's not happy about it to the superior officer's face.
No, only to the Commissar. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So she doesn't show any regret or anything like that. She's just basically, fuck you. Now, I thought the animation on this bit was really bad. His face was doing all sorts of very strange things.
I think it was supposed to be him trying to hold his tongue because he's effectively doing the shit thing and fucking over a whole planet.
Maybe, but the animation did not look good. It did not look good at all in this particular sequence. And this animation, like the others that we've had, has the same problem with the lip syncing. The lip syncing is just not right. And we're a long way past when they did Angels of Blood or whatever the hell it was called now. This should be better. Computer cutscenes do this better. Space Marine 2 does this better. So this should be better, in my opinion. And I don't think the animation is okay in this, but the lip syncing is just still not right. There was nothing quite as egregious as that bit in Space Marine, in Tithes episode 2, where you've got the Psycho running away and it looks really low def, like PlayStation 3 low def. But the lip syncing and the facial animations is still not right. So some more swearing, and to her credit, she's like, we're leaving them here to die. And then the Commissar turns around and he goes, I've killed 50 people and I regret it. I'm not going to kill any more loyal soldiers who are just scared and angry. So he's regretting the work he's done for the Emperor, which, considering how pious he was 2 seconds ago, seems a bit
of a turnaround.
Bit of a turnaround, not quite right to me, but all right, whatever. So he gives the Kaskin sergeant his bolt clip. He's like, here's your bullets, here's your tithe. I'm going to stay here. And she's like, you're a traitor. And he's like, you're trying to shame me into leaving with you. No, I'm staying here. I will fight with these men and I will die with these men.
Yeah, he's had enough, basically.
He's basically had enough. I mean, to be fair, if I was stuck on a Valkyrie with this woman for 2 hours or however long it's taken to make this drop, I would also quit. So I think that's fair enough. But yeah, so basically what happens then is the Orcs attack. Out of nowhere, the Orcs attack the installation just as they're loading up they finish loading up the bullets onto the Arvus lighters, the drop haulers. So they attack, and there was some kind of cool action here, Matt. I thought it was okay. It was nice to see the Orcs do their thing. They're kind of brutal, you know. The Kasrkin and the Acadians are fighting. It's just an action scene. You get to see, you know, the hotshot. Is it hotshot las guns they've got, or is it las carbines?
So I'm not too up on Kasrkin. To be fair, I've never been an Imperial Guard player.
Yeah, I can't remember if it's las carbines they've got, or hot shots. I think it's the Scions have got hot shots, so maybe the
I know that.
Maybe the Kasrkins have got the carbines. I don't know, but anyway, yeah, there's some cool action. It's all going on. Commissar takes an Orc on with a chainsword, which is pretty awesome because he's got no bullets because he's emptied his bolt pistol. And then I thought this was one of the Kasrkin, but it's not. But it's basically Acadian, I think, gets their head very, very, very much squished by an Orc knob, which was pretty cool. Now
I thought it was the aid of the diverse black boss lady from earlier, because the person who came and spoke to her also had a Acadian helmet and a bandana over their mouth.
Yes. Actually, you know what it is? It is because later he does say that they're dead.
Yeah, but then the person later on says they were stabbed in the back by a green coward. And I'm like, well, they got lifted off the ground and had their head squished, so...
From behind? I mean, it could be, it could be true. I thought it was Lady Kasrkin for a second. I was like, oh, okay, fair enough. No, you know, no plot armor here, no ovary plot armor. Wow, fair enough. Because in Prime Nexus,
made it too interesting.
Well, yeah, kind of. I mean, in Prime Nexus, they did have the Sisters of Battle, and they didn't shy away from the brutality on the Sisters of Battle, which is what I thought they would. You know, one of them literally gets a Scorpec destroyer blade through the chest. It's brutal, and I was like, ooh. So yeah. Anyway, head snipped off with some claws. The Commissar goes in and tries to fight, and basically gets punched by the Orc, showing how strong the Orc is. He's down. He's going to die. And I was like, oh wow, like, you know, this is how it goes, kind of thing. But no, he is saved by a strangled female woman.
Yep.
So he's like, look, you know, I'm gonna stay here and fight. You get the ammunition out of here. He's like, yeah, okay, fair enough. So we go back to Ultimate Commander lady. I don't know if she actually got a name or a rank. I presume she's a general, major or general, maybe.
I just assumed she was like a captain.
Yeah, she's not. I mean, so we've got the lieutenant's dead. She's either a captain or a general or major or whatever. I don't know how the ranks go. She has a new person come to her to basically say the lieutenant's dead. Your other adjutant got stabbed in the back, which is a nice way of saying he got his head crushed by a power claw. The ammunition did not arrive. We didn't get it.
Yeah, so quite the opposite.
Yeah, very much the opposite. They took what we had left. I don't think he actually says that. He just says that we didn't get the ammunition. And we've got nothing now. And she's like, do you know how to use a knife?
Yeah, you still got your knife. And he's like,
because it's time for me to be, you know, loud and in charge. So they basically go up there, and she goes up there and she's like, yeah, we're going to take them on with just melee weapons, which is not a great strategy versus Orcs, if you ask me, but fair enough. They go out like the Emperor would have wanted.
Got to use what you got, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah. Harsh language. So we then cut to the Minotaurian planet or depot or wherever they've gone, and they land down. The Minotaurian boss is also a lady.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? 2 out of 3 bosses being ladies, it's fine. That's okay. 3 out of 4 bosses being ladies, I was like, now hold on a moment. Like, who's been writing this? You've got
bitter.
Yeah, modern sensibilities and modern swearing, and I was a bit kind of like,
Yeah,
I'm not really
I mean, at this point, I've got to be honest, I was expecting it. I was totally numb to it at this point. I was just like, of course. You know?
What I wasn't quite expecting was the punchline.
Yes, this is stupid. So she's like, yes, we're here with the munitions, and she's like, yeah, thanks. No, we don't really need this.
We don't have room.
It's like, fine, no problem. Okay, we'll just take it. Somebody will need it. We'll just take off a bit, and you know, we'll put it back on the ship, and I'm sure somebody will need it. And she's like, no, the platform is not going to take the weight. Destroy the cargo. You guys fuck off, and we're going to destroy the cargo.
Yeah, bonkers.
And that's how it ends.
I'm like, who wrote this? It's the Munitorum. They're occasionally incompetent, always bureaucratic, usually late. Not that stupid.
Not that stupid. I mean, come on.
Stupid.
Just let them take off with it again. It's not like they've unloaded it or anything.
No, it's like, why would you want to destroy munitions from an active war zone where they're still required?
Oh my God. And this is just them being, the Imperium is bad. Just for edginess sake. And it's like, no, they're not fucking retarded.
Bonkers.
Absolutely ridiculous ending. If they'd said, we don't need it, take off, all those lives that were wasted for nothing, then I would have been like, yeah, fair enough.
Yep.
But destroy the cargo, use obliteration protocols or whatever. If you knew it couldn't take the weight, why did you let them land in the first place?
Yeah,
why wouldn't you send the ship a message saying, please don't land, you might break the platform, we've got all the ammo we need?
Please take them back. We've got no room for no more.
Oh my God, Matt. And you just know it was done just to please people like we're going to talk about in a second. But before we start talking about those people in this mini CHEBS, and mini CHEBS are fine, all CHEBS are, whether a handful or more, they're all perfect. We love CHEBS. What did you think of this episode, dude? Because I thought it was the weakest of the three by a long way.
The same. I was, I mean, I'd never really paid much attention to Aeronautica because Imperial Guard and Orcs are two factions that I don't really care that much about.
Agreed.
When it comes to 40k, like I picked up the other two. Like I picked up the Eldar and Marines and the Navy versus Tau. I picked up both of those boxes and thoroughly enjoyed those. But the original one, I was a bit like, meh, not overly bothered. I never really read any of the World War II or World War I inspired, like Double Eagle or any of those novels.
Double Eagle is a very good novel. I think it's one of Dan Abnett's best, actually.
I was about to say, it's Dan Abnett, so I don't expect it to be bad in any way.
It is a really, really good read. Excellent characters. It's got women in it. I mean, I don't know how often we need to state this position. Matt and I are not against women being in this universe. It's fine. It makes sense. But GW, you are so unsubtle in this episode. You might as well just get a brick, write girl boss on it, and use it to smash in men's testicles. You really might as well. Because I don't know what to say. I mean, it's just... All the men die, the women survive, and they're great, and they save the men, and you'll never see a man saving a woman, ever, because it's just not allowed, I presume. I don't know. I don't want to sound bitter. I don't want to sound like one of those people who are like, girls have got cooties, we don't want them, because, I do think there is a place for them in the universe, and it's just struck me. Give me
all the girl cooties, I can take it.
I watched Rogue One Sunday
film.
At the cinema again, and I loved it. And it struck me, I was watching it and I was like, oh wow, all the commandos who go on the mission with Jyn Erso, they are all blokes, every single one of them.
Yep.
So because it makes sense, because men are stronger, faster, better soldiers.
But
do you know where
all the people in command making sensible decisions are female?
Well, not all of them. You've got General Draven, you've got Dodana there. Obviously, you have got Mon Mothma, who is the overall commander. But that's a thing from way back in Return of the Jedi. So I'm totally cool with that. Again, Star Wars has always had strong women. You don't need to go
and
doing what Star Wars is doing at the moment and acting like it's revolutionary. It's not. We've always had strong women. Whether they were Princess Leia or General Leia, it makes no difference. She was a badass both ways.
Yep.
She was taking that rifle off Luke and doing a better job than him. And nobody had a problem with it. Nobody said a fucking word about it. We were fine with it.
She half rescued herself.
Exactly. She was amazing, Princess Leia, whether she was a princess or a general. But this is just so unsubtle with the girl bossiness. And so back to Rogue One. The commandos were all men, because that makes sense. So what did they do with the women representation? They made a load of them pilots.
Yes.
Which makes absolutely fuckloads of sense and is fine. And I did not have a problem in the slightest. And I would not have a problem if they were the greatest pilots, because that seems absolutely fine to me. Yep. There's nothing that's going to stop a woman from having to... Like Starbuck in going back to Battlestar Galactica. How many people had a problem that Starbuck had been made a female? Now, initially, I imagine quite a few. But as the series progressed and we saw what kind of character she was, and Katie Sackhoff absolutely fracking owned the role and was amazing. I don't think anybody by the end of the season begrudged that sex swap.
Nope.
Because it was earned, and she was amazing.
I love me some Dirk Benedict, but it's not the 80s anymore.
No, exactly.
And she did a stellar job.
Oh, she was so good, man. So good in that series, and she owned it, and she gained the respect of the fans. And I don't think a single fan turned around by the end of it and went, "No, I didn't like that," or had a problem with it at all. So it can be done. You can put badass strong women in universes, but then you can still have them feminine as well. So at the same time, you had Starbuck, who was kind of dude coded, I suppose, even though she wasn't feminine in her own way. She just wanted to fuck, she just wanted to fight and all that kind of stuff. But then you had Trisha Helfer, who could not be more feminine if she tried. Red Six, so you do both. In this, the women are just unlikable dudes.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, that's not the way. I know Vasquez kind of did that archetype, but at the same time, Vasquez had her weaknesses, her flaws, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But she'd earned the respect of her fellow Marines. She wasn't just, I don't know, I just feel like it's been lost so badly. And I don't want to get loads into it, but obviously we did have loads of comments on the female custodies video. So overall, I do think that even if you took all the girl bossiness out of this one, I do think it would still be the weakest episode. I think it lingers too long in the wrong places. I would have liked to see more of the York pilots, a bit more character in it, and especially not this stupid ass ending.
It's fucking silly.
So Tithes is over. I would rate number 1, honestly, a good 8 or 9 out of 10. I really couldn't see a great deal wrong with it, and I really enjoyed it. Primaris stupid cables in the back of their legs that are asking to be chopped in half aside. Episode 2, I didn't have a massive problem with it. I thought the animation was a bit of a downgrade. There was a little bit of girl bossiness in it, but at the same time, they're custodies. They're meant to be the best, and they would be the direct Emperor's word. Yeah. I did kind of want the Space Marine to punch her in the face, because his honour was being besmirched, and they were being told to forsake a 1,000-year oath to the planet.
Yeah.
But I didn't have any massively overall problems with it.
No.
I think we said with that one, I would like to have seen more of the Space Marines fighting and sacrifice juxtaposed with the rescuing of the Psychers.
Give it a bit more context.
Give it a bit more context and a bit more impact, because as it was, there wasn't really any loss.
No.
There's a couple of arbiters didn't make it, and that was about
told.
it. And then he was told off for losing one of the Psychers. This, so the second episode, I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10. I didn't hate it. You and me have said our piece on female custodies again, which is in the longer form CHEBS that I'm working on at the moment, but it was okay. I didn't mind it. Between like a 6 and 7. This is honestly like a 3 or a 4 for me.
I'd have given that between a 7 and an 8, just because it's got Tyranids in it, and new Tyranids at that. So I was very happy to see them. Yes, it's good to see Von Leapers. But
this is like a 3 or a 4 for me. I just
a 4, I'd say, for me.
And I won't lie, the girl bossiness of that does impact it a little bit for me. But even without that, I'd still be looking at a 5 absolute tops.
It was still pony.
Yeah, the writing's stupid. It doesn't make any sense. It makes the Imperium out to be not just bureaucratic and convoluted and in its own way. It makes them out to be flat out retarded.
Yes. 100% incompetent.
Yes, which is not what we want. Even if it is what the writer of a new episode about Space Marine 2, or a new article about Space Marine 2 on Gizmodo does want. So we're going to have a look at this, Matt, and I'm afraid I'm reading little bits of it out. So it's written by a guy called Kyle Barr, and it basically says, Space Marine 2 is too busy making you feel heroic to show the farce at Warhammer 40k's heart. And basically what he's bitching about is the fact that Space Marine 2 is all about Space Marines beating up aliens and doesn't show the fascist side of Warhammer 40,000. And he basically says So it's a very long article. I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's just not worth it. But
Please don't.
he just says, I'll read the first paragraph. You're an 8 foot tall walking tank. You've been bred for war, brainwashed since a child to kill in the name of a corpse on a throne. You hack and shoot and kill on the orders of an obscene hierarchy, one that sacrifices people in their millions for the sake of a decrepit, dying society. The Imperium. That is the central theme, the beating heart of Warhammer 40,000. In the latest game, Saber Interactive Space Marine 2, you're made to feel every inch the super soldier you play as. Never does it ask you to engage with its satire. Now, he does say, I don't hate the game. In fact, I enjoyed my time with it the whole way through. I enjoyed it as much as I did with Space Marine when I played it in high school. The problem is there is a non-insignificant sexist, racist and toxic proportion of the Warhammer fan base that tend to think the Imperium is correct in its methods. Newcomers might play it and not understand what the setting is truly about. That would be a shame. I won't bother reading any more of it. It's just basically bitching about the game and just saying that it's a power fantasy and doesn't address the Imperium. Dude, this is a game about just hacking apart fucking aliens.
I'd like to hear his take on what the Imperium should be doing instead, just to survive.
Well, this is true. This is true. The Emperor. Let's get. I mean, again, I think mine and Matt's opinion of this will line up. The Imperium is not good, but the Imperium is correct.
Yep.
It is 100% correct because the Imperium is surrounded on all sides by aliens and things that are trying to kill us.
Correct.
So, and the Imperium is so big and bloated that it can only operate in this way. It's an Imperium the size of a galaxy. It is beyond anything that anybody can imagine or think of. But at the end of the day, this is a game, Matt, about running around as a Space Marine, demolishing Tyranids. It's and later Chaos. It's not a particularly deep game, and we don't need it to be.
No.
And I sure as hell don't need this guy trying to guilt me for enjoying that.
Nah, fuck that guy.
Yeah,
I don't need my Titus crying about his methods.
Exactly. I mean,
it shows supposed to be enjoying his work.
It shows Cadians getting fucking massacred by the 1,000. I think that's good enough. Yep. It doesn't. What does he want it to do? Does he want it to dwell on a scene where dramatic, emotional music plays and Titus sheds a tear as he thinks about the lives lost in the name of? Fuck off, mate.
What does he think they are? Salamanders?
Let us just enjoy this fucking game, which is pretty epic. It's got a couple of flaws here and there, but it's pretty damn epic. And I've had a lot of fun playing it, and so have you. And we've had a lot of fun playing it together. But to write this article, I'm just like, dude, fuck off. You know what? Go and watch this animated episode. You'll love it. It's all about that.
It's all about how useless the Imperium is.
I don't need every single game to point out the failings of the Imperium, even when I think this game does it fairly well as it is. Some games are just hack and slash. I mean, the first one didn't do anything like that either, from what I remember. And he's like, Titus never gets to challenge the regime that put him in this way. No, because he's a loyal soldier of the Imperium.
Yeah, exactly what he shouldn't be doing.
Really fucking simple. Really simple. Space Marines are, essentially brainwashed, conditioned weapons.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with that. I don't need this to be a deep thing. So yeah, I did want to just address that because it felt to me that this guy would end up writing the kind of shit that we got in Tithes episode 3.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like even in the setting, Marines are fine with that. Like even back in 30k, before they started getting all psycho indoctrinated and they had more personalities and they were slightly more free thinking, which to be fair led to an entire heresy, so it probably wasn't a great idea. but like even then, like you had like the Ultramarines. Funnily enough, Ultramarines, where Guilliman is kind of like, well, what are we going to do once we own the galaxy? We're still going to have to fall into life and do stuff. Otherwise, we're just going to be obsolete weapons. And I hate to think what will happen to us then. Which is why he's so focused on bureaucracy and statecraft and things like that. That's why Blood Angels are all artisans and artists, and same with Emperor's Children.
Exactly. What happens after the war?
Yeah, most of the legions have some kind of fallback aspect to them, even if it's fairly minimal. Like, you got Iron Hands and Salamanders are going to be artificers and engineers. They'll still have a role. Admittedly, they'll be like 8 foot tall, hulking dudes that'll just come along and make stuff and fix things. But that's the way they were designed. Like the Emperor's like, I need to have this galaxy brought into check more than I need my soldiers to be okay afterwards. So, which is a bit harsh on the soldiers, but it's literally what they're designed to do. So,
well, this is it. I mean, it is the sacrifice of many, the sacrifice of angels to keep this rotting Imperium going. We know that it is, as this guy does correctly say, at the heart of the universe. But I don't need a hack and slash game to fucking remind me of it. Sometimes I just want to run around just beating the shit out of Tyranids with really cool executions. And ripping Terminator helmets off 10 times in a row. Yeah, you've got these people who are just trying to make me feel guilty for enjoying Warhammer 40,000, enjoying this very dark universe that we like because it is grimdark. That's the whole idea, But at the same time, it is really fucking cool.
It is.
And I won't make any apologies for thinking that. And I won't make any apologies for thinking the Imperium, as I say, although they're not good, and we know they're not good, it is humanity gone down the darkest possible path. They are absolutely correct in the universe they are in.
Yeah.
They are the good guys of the Warhammer 40,000 universe. There's no two ways about it. They're not good by our standards.
But they're not in our time living by our standards.
Exactly that. And that's what I think a lot of people just cannot understand. And
context is important.
You seem to be above among them, mate. Go and if you want screeching social commentary and all that kind of stuff, I suggest you go and be one of the 7 people that are playing Dustborn. Because Space Marine 2 ain't that game, and it ain't going to be that game. And the CEO of Saber Interactive has come out and said that he didn't want it to be that game. He wanted it to be a simple, fun time.
And because sometimes people want to. That's a lot of things that people seem to overlook these days, especially where people bitch about representation and things like that. Is that people initially did things like play Warhammer to get away from the real world.
Yes, it's called escapism.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm not represented in this hellish bureaucracy in the far future where if you see yourself willingly represented in
Warhammer 40,000, that's not a good thing. It really isn't.
but like, it's like the Millennium, like the Imperium, is not a place to want to be. No one has a great time. The only people having a great time in the 41st millennium is orcs.
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
Doing what they were born to do and what they love doing.
Because they get to fight, and if they win, then they've won because they won their fight. And then if they lose and they die fighting, they've still won because they've died doing what they want to do.
Yeah, they have fun fighting. Yeah,
that's a classic viewpoint, And it's like, I don't want to see any aspect of modern society reflected in my hobby that I use for escapism.
Yep, exactly that. Yeah, exactly that.
No,
there was a guy who was like, "Oh, I'm going to give my Space Marines a pride flag because my Space Marines march for pride rights."
And it's like, okay, but
I'm like, you deluded motherfucker.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, don't be wrong. Your headcanon, your models, you do what the fuck you want with them, mate.
You do what you like. I'm not saying that you can't.
But that is not what 99% of the people who engage in Warhammer 40,000 are here for.
No.
And Games Workshop will never acknowledge it.
No, I mean, no, because they don't really want to alienate people unless it makes them look.
No. What I'm saying is that they might acknowledge your chapter, and like that guy that I don't like, Cerberus, his work appeared in White Dwarf, and they were like, "Yay, we love pride representation." And as long as it stays in, yes, we like the pride representation, I'm absolutely fine with that. The second that any of that creeps into the lore or the background, I'm like, fuck off. Because if a planet was like, "Oh, we don't like the Emperor and we're campaigning for pride rights and stuff," they would get exterminatus. They would. I'm sorry, that's just the universe that it is. And GW, you cannot change that. That is, if you do something to change that, then you have fundamentally destroyed Warhammer 40,000. by showing
like
something
the
that is
ethos
not
behind
tolerant becoming tolerant, because it's not. It's not fucking
Nope.
tolerant. I imagine you could do it cleverly. You could do it cleverly. You could
They
have a
could.
world. You could have a world maybe where it is all kind of maybe bright and all that kind of stuff. But then you would have to show the Imperium turning up and fucking torching it.
Well, that's pretty much what Half of the Heresy is about, ain't it?
Yeah.
Those people all did live on their little bright worlds.
Exactly.
Was
Yeah.
right
I think it's what the first book's about, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, well,
Rising. They turn up and they fucking glass this planet, but it's not the universe. So while the universe is wide and technically you can have anything in it, and that's true, and we've seen people do all sorts of stuff with Space Marine chapters. I mean, hell, I made a Space Marine chapter based upon Assassin's Creed with a brotherhood of assassin Space Marines. This is obviously back when I was way younger, long before Primaris or anything like that. We're talking about 4th edition. Long before the idea of Assassin's Brotherhood came out. This was just after the first Assassin game. We had one Assassin, Altair, and Altair ended up being the name of my chapter master, if I remember correctly. I did write a load of background on it and stuff. So people can do anything they want, because I thought an idea of Space Marines that are stationed around that planet, and there's just like 1 or 2 Space Marines that sort of take out a rebel city governor or something like that as assassins. I thought it's kind of cool. Now, was I young and naive at the time? Absolutely. But the point is that you've got room to do whatever you want in the Warhammer 40,000 universe in your own headcanon.
Yeah.
I would not then insist that GW turn around and go, yes, there is a chapter of Assassin Space Marines, because overall maybe it doesn't make a lot of sense, especially when you start thinking about things like vehicles. And so I said, look, the Assassin's Blades, the Emperor's Blades don't take vehicles,
was that the origin of the Troll Blades?
That is the origin of the Troll Blades. That's exactly what they were. And I'll find the document and send it to you sometime, because it was actually I wrote a short story, and I did one of those, the chapter approved that was appearing in White Dwarf at those times.
Yeah.
Sorry, not a chapter approved, Index Astartes.
Oh, is it?
I wrote the whole thing like that, so they've got a battle cry and all that kind of stuff. And I had a lot of fun doing it, and that's one of the things I used to love doing about the game.
What's
but
the whole point?
At no stage would I turn around. So I say again?
It's the whole point in coming up with your own chapter.
Precisely. Yeah.
My first Marine chapter were yellow, orange, and red with a smiley face. I mean,
why am I not surprised?
Once I got my hands on the Death Ring expansion for Space Hulk, they all suddenly turned into Dark Angels, but that's neither here nor there really. But
no, that's fair enough. And when you're young, you've got that imagination, and you're not fully immersed with the lore, so you do come up with your own stuff, and it's cool. Again, not going to begrudge anybody about that. I'm not. If you want to do some Pride Space Marines, mate, you go nuts. It's your hobby, it's your models. Just don't ask for it to be accepted into the wider lore, because it's not fucking going to be. The Imperium is not a tolerant place. They are not going to allow Space Marine chapters to go around on crusades of Pride acceptance. I'm sorry, they're just not.
No.
It's just not going to happen. I'm sorry. And GW have made this rod for their own backs, because they now need to put women into a universe where women would essentially just be used for breeding. Because
I'm staying out of that one.
Human bodies are the true currency of the Imperium. They kind of need to get more of them. Maybe they do. Maybe they just vat grow them all like the Krieg do. I don't know. But yeah. So it's going to be more.
That sounded dangerously like Votan heresy to me.
It's only going to go. I have said that it's only going to go one way. Maybe GW are going to do female Space Marines eventually, and at that time, you need to make a decision at each step of what GW is going to do, and they are going to do it regardless of what you say. You need to make the decision of whether you're going to go on for the ride, or do you back out? Do you see that as a jumping off point? For me, female Space Marines is my jumping off point. If female Space Marines were to be a thing, I would no longer feel that I could engage in 40k in any way.
Yeah.
That I would have to say at that point, no, I'm sorry, I'm kind of out. And people can say what they say about that. They can call me all sorts of names. That is my personal breaking point. But yeah, I mean, GW is, as it becomes a bigger company and everything, it is going to go down that route, and we're going to get more like this. I have no doubt that we're going to get more like this. And I am going to be cancelling Warhammer Plus, because I don't think it's worth it, and I don't think there's any more animations coming out for a while. So I'll subscribe for a month when it comes back, because I think that's worth it. I don't get any other value out of it. But Yeah, so that's just a quick episode that we've done while Matt's on his lunch break. Hey, Matt's bosses. While he's on his lunch break.
Yeah, late lunch. I'll finish in half an hour.
But yeah, let us know what you think. On top of that, Grumpy Grognard Gaming is going to be, in all honesty, by the time you probably get to this, because I'm slow at editing at the moment, 1 year old, and we will be doing a special stream or episode. I don't know about a stream because that's live. Can people send us super chats? 625 subs. I think it's 500, but it'll probably be recorded because that's just the way we do things. We don't stream. And we will be doing a special episode, so we want you to ask us anything or anything you want us to cover in it, because we're out of ideas. It's 1 year and we're done.
That's it. We're old.
Well, we've got to cover the battle manuals at some point and work our way up to 2nd edition. But no, seriously,
I've still got those down under my desk, ready to go.
1 year on, we've had fun doing what we do, and I hope you've had fun as well. So yeah, check us some questions. I think we've got a few already that I need to write down and address. But onwards and upwards from here, hopefully. So
on our very slow quest towards ultimate power.
Our very slow quest towards ultimate power. Slow and steady wins the race, or something. If we had sexy ladies that could wear low cut tops and everything, we'd be on over 1,000 already.
I reckon.
But sadly, we do not. We're just two bearded grognards, and yeah, we have to make do, I suppose. Make do with what we've got. So we'll catch you guys later, and thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to let us know what you think.
You know what we should do for an episode? Just hire two fillies with nice voices to just pretend to be us. Give them a script.
Where does one obtain these fillies? Is there a Fillies Are Us website?
I'm sure we know a few.
I think there is, Matt, but I'm not sure that the services that they offer include YouTube video transcription.
I think we have to discuss this offline.
Another time. Right, we'll catch you guys later. Adios.
Cheerio,